years now. I pivoted over into AI marketing and AI content creation, AI productivity about 4 years ago. So I got in pretty early on the bell curve of user adoption. I own a AI marketing software tool in the video space, and I do this every day. And I love to chat about this stuff. And I hope what I share is helpful.
Hi, everyone. My name is Austin Carroll. I'm the CEO and founder of Warrant. We are a marketing compliance solution that helps financial institutions, credit unions, banks, and insurance carriers make sure that their marketing is compliant and also allowing them to really take advantage of a lot of the items that we're chatting about in the webinar today. AEGO and AI search engine optimization is definitely something that is on everyone's mind. So we really want to make it easy to take advantage of a lot of the tactics that Austin's going to share while also remaining compliant because we are regulated institutions, so we have to do that. But excited to, chat with you guys on this webinar today.
So one thing before we get started, everyone here is welcome to take us up on a strategy session on AEO, GEO, as well as a breakdown of what Warrant can do for you. And that's something in terms of the strategy session that could normally charge up to $500. And it's totally free. If you wait till the end, we'll share a QR code on where you can take us up on that offer, as well as send you an email afterwards. So to get started, one thing that Austin says on a lot of our calls is that SEO is dead. Could you walk us through what you mean by that as I kind of pull up an example here?
Yeah, it's more or less just an attention-grabbing headline. What do you mean SEO is dead? I've been doing it for 20 years on my website. Do I need to start fresh? SEO is not necessarily dead. It's just pivoting. People constantly are searching for information in new ways. They're no longer just going to Google and typing in a long tail keyword and getting the 10 blue links below ads. They're now getting AI responses. They're going to ChatGPT or to Claude or to Gemini or to Grok, and they're using voice memos to search for particular answers and getting that voice response back. As Jake has here on the screen, you see this now. This kind of replaced featured snippets, which was the sort of quick answer that was presented at the top of Google search for the last couple of years. This has now been replaced by AI overview, which is powered by Google's AI model called Gemini. And you'll see here, this is now very specific search results that are based on the search intent, the user's intent, with sources and sites links on there as well from a lot of different varying sources. And how you show up in here, we'll get to all of this, is different from just long tail keywords doing SEO keyword research that you might have heard of before, cranking out blog articles. There's a lot more to it. So SEO is kind of dead in the traditional sense, but it really has just evolved in this new AI era.
I think it's really interesting too. You have to scroll all the way down here to actually get the first #1 ranking, Henrico, which isn't even listed on this AI summary.
Yeah,
it's really interesting. A bit unique to Richmond. I think you might find some different results with different searches.
Yeah, another quick thing that you have to focus on here too is how you associate your online marketing with business and clients coming in is fundamentally changing as well. Because if you focused on SEO for many, many years, your click traffic might be going down. We're seeing that across the board right now. And so your phone calls might be increasing. The direct traffic to your website, if you look on Google Analytics, might be increasing as well. Because what people are doing, and this is why it's so important to have brand visibility across all platforms. They're searching for this information. They're getting the results and the answer here, and then when they're ready, they'll make that phone call to you, or they'll go direct to your website. So don't get super worried if your blog SEO traffic is going down. This is really why it's happening. So this is just a evolution of how consumers are finding new businesses.
Yeah, absolutely. So as we kind of just broke down, you can be number one on Google and just totally missing from that AI search on the same platform, which is kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah, and that credit union that we just saw probably, spent 10 years trying to climb to the top of the leaderboard, and they did it, and they're still at the top, but there's so many other things that we had to scroll down to even see them. Like, I think that just really hits home how important it is to start focusing on AI search engine optimization now versus waiting any longer.
Yeah, it's really an opportunity as well, because in a lot of legacy industries like this that are slower to adopt new technology, they're still betting on these old strategies. They're doing blog content creation, they're doing link building, they're doing press releases. All of these things are fundamentally still important. But those who take advantage of AI search and the best practices to start ranking inside ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Perplexity, Grok, all of these AI tools, you're going to have that first mover's advantage and capitalize on a lot of this traffic that your competitors just aren't even paying attention to yet.
Sure.
It's going to be a big land grab.
That's
big
true.
Opportunity.
Yeah, versus before it might have taken, an outside agency to get you to the top of the SEO leaderboard, and it could have taken 6 months. Now we're seeing like the opportunity is really there that you guys could be the top credit union, the top bank, the top insurance carrier within, probably a couple of weeks of really, really strong work on these kind of tactics that Austin's going to talk you through.
Yep. So moving on now, we're going to talk about those 3 secrets that we mentioned. So it's going to be the content that you're posting on multiple different channels, your website, how to optimize that, and then finally the compliance piece, how to get this all moving and have that platform to fully move into modern marketing. So first things first, content, and I'm going to be calling on you a lot here, the king of content in this room, Austin Armstrong. So as we go here, can you talk a little bit about like those question banks and how you want to be that exact answer to what people are actually putting in the ChatGPT?
Yeah, this is a great question. So give me a 1 in the chat if you're aware of keyword SEO research. If you've ever done any keyword research on a tool like Ahrefs or SEMrush or anything traditional like that. Can we actually see the chats here? Let's see. And give me a 2 in the chat if you have no idea what I'm talking about. I just want to see where everybody's at here. 1.5. Okay.
From Justin.
Make sure you all are paying attention. I'm going to engage with you on some of these things. Okay. So let me give a quick break.
More 1.5. I don't know.
1.5.
I don't know what that means.
No problem. What this essentially means is if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right? If you're just randomly cranking out blog articles, pieces of content on your website, you don't know what your customers are actually searching for that would lead to them becoming a really qualified lead and sale. You're going to just be treading water and not really doing any traction. The last 20 years has been really focused on long tail keyword topic research online using these tools like Ahrefs, SEMrush, there's Uber Suggest, there's the people also ask section on Google itself, all of these things. You type in a keyword, maybe it's credit union, and then you see the long tail questions like best credit union for home loans, or anything along the lines of that in 2026 or in my particular zip code, right? And then you create a blog article on that. That's still fine, and that's fundamental for SEO, but people are searching for things differently in this AI era now. They're longer tail keywords. They're very specific because AI is giving us much more specific answers. So you want to still do this research online, but now there's other tools. There's Search Atlas, there's Ranked AI, there's great tools that will actually show you the long tail prompts that people are typing into AI. And now what you want to do is create content around those prompts, not just the long tail keywords anymore. And you want to have an omnipresent content strategy across the board, because what people are doing is they're not just going to Google, typing in a question, and then calling you. They're going to Google, they're going to AI, they're going to social media, they're looking at reviews, they're going to Reddit for reviews because that's where people go for trusted real reviews from real people. Maybe they're going to Trustpilot or other review sites, credit union, directory oriented websites.
That's us.
I know.
The credit union director.
You're welcome. They're going and cross-referencing across the board. So it's really important to have an omnipresent approach to looking at what people are actually searching now. The very, very specific stuff. You can actually do this yourself. You can go to AI, an AI tool of your choice, a ChatGPT or Claude or Grok or whatever, and ask it, what are the prompts that people are searching for around this particular keyword? And let's type something in.
People searching for credit unions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, so all of these are really good. So
I think what's interesting too is a lot of these are what we spend a lot of time talking with our clients about, is how we can compliantly share rates. Most credit unions and banks that we work with, oftentimes you might be using a PDF to update your rates on your website, but ChatGPT can't always access those and oftentimes can't scrape them at all. So you're losing all of this traffic that people are searching for because they can't read the rates that you are publishing on your website.
Yep. So these are all great topics right here, and they're actually a little short. I would, you can continue to go down rabbit holes, but these are fantastic list of things that people are actually searching for right now, and you can create. Oh yeah. Here. This is what I was actually looking for. High intent, long tail prompts people are searching for. What's the best credit union for a first time car buyer? Which credit union has the lowest used car loan rates? Like that's very specific, right? That might not even show up on an SEO keyword research tool, but this is what people are searching for inside ChatGPT. So you want to create blog article, same thing that you would do on SEO before. You want to create blog articles very specific to that, but you also want to create a short form video for TikTok, for Instagram, for YouTube Shorts, for Facebook Reels, LinkedIn as well. I'll go off on a quick tangent here, but the two main platforms that the LLMs are training data from are Reddit and LinkedIn right now, which is fascinating. So you need to have an active Reddit strategy. There's a lot of different ways to do this. You can actually have your own subreddit thread for your credit union brand and just be present in there. You can put an intern on it or a marketing associate or anybody that you want to monitor that, and just regularly post in there, post topics, ask questions, get some feedback, get content going, but also looking for what people are searching for on credit unions. In fact, this might be a great one for you too. Just go to reddit.com real quick. Just do this off the cuff. Yeah. And then in the find anything, just type in credit union. Oh, doesn't seem to be.
Oh, it's signing him in.
Credit union. Yeah. And then let's see. Looking for best credit union 1 month ago. Who's obsessed with the credit union? Yeah, just click on that top one there.
I don't know. Did anyone else know that credit unions had a whole subreddit just dedicated to credit unions? I'm sure there's one for community banks as well. I wonder.
So this is a fantastic thread, right? So you can see what your customers are searching for. This is only 1 month old. This is a gold mine. So you guys should go into this subreddit thread, and you don't want to spam either. You want to have a natural conversational approach to this, and just go in and be like, hi, I'm a representative of XYZ Credit Union. I'm happy to answer some specific questions for you. A specific nuanced thing for Reddit as well is called an AMA, which is Ask Me Anything. So you can go, you could probably contact the administrator of this subreddit of credit unions and be like, hey, I want to do an AMA and ask me anything. I will spend the next 3 hours answering every single question that comes in about the benefits of credit unions, and you want to just over deliver and provide incredible value. And then just subtly through there, you can put in the brand name of your credit union, links to some lead form fills and whatnot. And what happens is this lives on Google forever. This will be a fantastic long tail stream of leads and SEO juice for you, if you will. And all of the AI tools, ChatGPT, Claude, Grok, Perplexity, all of these tools scrape Reddit and scrape LinkedIn for this information, and it trains their models as well as the synergistic approach of your actual website and your social media. And all of this impacts when somebody searches on ChatGPT thread for best credit union for a car loan. You will pop up because you've done this diligence of focusing on Reddit, focusing on LinkedIn, focusing on the long tail keywords associated with the prompts that people are searching for, the social media content. It seems like a lot, but this is really your unfair advantage and opportunity right now.
And honestly, a lot of what we've talked about is text-based.
Yeah.
And I think that, we talk a lot to community banks and credit unions, and I think there is, a fear of doing more marketing because it takes resources. You have to get a photographer, you have to buy imagery, you have to get someone to do video and edit it. But all of the things we've talked about so far, blogs and posting on Reddit, that is just text-based. Anyone can do that, and even if you have access to Copilot, or maybe if you're doing it by hand and you're typing it yourself, the old-fashioned way, I would say, you can still create these text posts without a lot of time, on your staff dedicated to it. So I think that that's really interesting too. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the social media side, which often is more multimedia, but I think you can get started doing this with, just your existing team and just putting someone on it internally to start, writing towards these questions that are probably coming in. And I know that we spend a lot of time online and how you can research online, but I think when we're talking about financial institutions, you guys have members and customers that call in to your bank and credit union every single day. Mm-hmm. I bet you can get a hold of some of those reports from your call center, from your branches, and find out what questions people are coming in and asking. Mm-hmm. That way, you know exactly what you can write to as well.
Can you guys spend just a quick minute here talking about that social media? I know you mentioned you need to have a couple different platforms where you're pushing stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the benefit of social media right now, and again, like I mentioned at the beginning, I've been doing social media marketing for 21 years. The last, I'd say about 4 years have been easier than it's ever been with short form video. So I don't know what your opinions are on TikTok, but TikTok really just completely changed the landscape of social media for short form video. So you don't really need to create long, heavily edited videos anymore. You can show up in your office answering a question. I built an entire career around this strategy of those questions that we just pulled up inside ChatGPT that people are searching for. That is the first line of the video. So you can literally just have somebody come up to you in your office and say, hey, Justin, what's the best credit union to get a car loan?
Well, he'll be really mad because he works for ICBA.
Okay, well, I see you on screen here, Justin. So that's just the first person that came to mind. So
what's the top community bank?
What's the top community bank? Or what's a question related to a community? Like let's do a real example.
Like, how do I qualify for an auto loan?
How do I qualify for an auto loan? And you just answer that in a 30-second compact answer, and then you just say at the end, follow us for more information on this topic. It's just it's hitting that question that people are searching for in the first 3 seconds. This is called the opening hook. You want to stop the scroll. Don't talk about yourself up front. Users are on social media for information, entertainment, or distraction. So your goal is to stop their scroll with a topic or a piece of information that is going to resonate with them. So the opening hook is literally just somebody coming in, they press record, they ask you the question that is the long tail keyword or the prompt that you found on ChatGPT or you asked your customers that they're searching for. You answer it, and then you give them a closing call to action. You only need one video, short, vertical, or vertical on your phone, less than 60 seconds. Publish that one video on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, on TikTok, on X, post it on Reddit. It seems like a lot, but it's really just one video that you upload everywhere for that same keyword. It's the title, the description is optimized for that. That's how you show up consistently everywhere. Just do like 1 to 3 videos like this per week. It will compound. Your competitors will have no idea what hit them because you're so far ahead right now.
Yeah, and I think that we've been talking a lot about like AEO this webinar, but I think like, TikTok, YouTube, these are very, very popular search engines as well.
Yeah.
And if you answer that question, you are still appearing in those searches as well. Maybe I'm searching for how to get an auto loan on TikTok versus on Google, and that's another place that you can appear because you've done that video.
I'll give you another quick example. On my channel, I teach digital marketing on my YouTube channel. I have a video that I uploaded 4 years ago. It is a short video. It's about 45 seconds long about how to delete your data from Google. It has 1.2 million views, and it's my top viewed video right now. Every single day, it gets about 5,000 views or so. And I uploaded it 4 years ago, and it's still getting views every single day. That's the power of this compounding, is you just do it right on the right strategy, targeting the right prospective buyer, and it lives forever.
And I think that's definitely true as well. Like, given that pretty much everyone on the call is, in the financial services industry or in insurance, let's be honest, the information online about how to qualify for mortgages, how to get auto loans, how to think about different alternative investments, let's be honest, that information online is not good. Like, it is bad. Oftentimes it's created by, fin influencers that don't really know what they're talking about versus your loan officers that have worked in your community for 20 years. You're going to be able to do a hell of a lot better with content and videos about how to get an auto loan in your county than anyone else on the internet is. And like Austin mentioned, it's not, don't depend on that. We got 5 views today. It's like that could be compounding over years and years and could drive a significant loan volume to your business. So
yeah, and the views are not really important because it's the right view. I say 1 million views, right, which is great, but it's hyper targeted, right? You're creating a video for a specific search intent or a specific prompt that is a potential buyer. The intent is so high on these. You really only need 100 views, and that's 100 of the right buyers. That could be literally 100 customers right there. It's not about views. It's not about virality or anything like that. It's creating high intent content for the perfect user by doing this research ahead of time.
Yeah, it's interesting you touch on those metrics. I think one thing I wanted to make sure we hit on too was something I found when I was searching through and preparing for this call. So right here, picking on Call Federal Credit Union here in Richmond again. And the reviews are mostly good. If you go in and ask Perplexity, is this a good credit union? What are people saying? Except until you get down here, where we're talking about Yelp ratings that are 1.9 to 2.5 stars. And you go into Yelp, and it's Tim from 7 years ago.
Yeah.
That's killing your reputation on AI. Austin, Carroll, could you specifically talk about how, like, those testimonials too, like, not only are they so valuable for this kind of thing where you're taking that plain text, but also from a compliance perspective, like the potential, I guess, pitfalls with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think Testimonials are difficult. There are a lot of different regulations around how you can leverage testimonials depending on the product that you're getting the testimonial for. If it's for investment services, you need to say, performance not guaranteed. Obviously, you can't have a testimonial saying I made $1 million. You should definitely use these guys. But that's what makes it really tricky, is it is matrixed. It depends on what product that customer is using. It depends on, how large your financial institution is and whether or not you have more federal oversight, which can be tricky, especially with FTC. They're constantly evolving what your testimonials you're even allowed to use. But that being said, I think really when you're thinking about Reddit and you're thinking about Yelp, which are two ways that the AI tools are really starting to, reference when asked about your credit union or your bank or your insurance carrier, I think that's where you really start to try to encourage people to post, because that is an outside platform. That is, as long as you're not writing it for them or getting them sample, if you're just encouraging them to post and share their honest feedback, there isn't a lot of regulatory scrutiny around that, and it can allow you to show up a lot stronger on these external platforms. Now, when you're talking about your own website, again, always have a compliance reviewer look at those testimonials and always get written permission that you can use their likeness, their names, and their testimonial, and make sure you're storing that in a great place. We do that in Warrant as well if you're interested. But I would really think about, how can you also make that more dynamic? So text is great because the AI is going to reference that, but also images or even video testimonials are really great. And a lot of you serve a specific community. What better way to show that you serve that community than to have people on your website or on your social media talking about how you serve that community? Just make sure you get a compliance review first.
Yeah.
Now, moving forward a little bit now, we're going to talk about website, specifically a little bit of the structure here. I know you mentioned this a little bit. I can take some of this. So this is what we see on some credit union websites, and you might think that this might take a lot of work to put together, but this is exactly the format that AI can actively call when queried. And this, could you speak a little bit more to what this exactly is we're looking at here with the schema?
Yeah, so schema markup is more on the technical side of things. You're going to want to have your web developer focus on this rather than you actually do this. But this is the actual structure of the page. This is kind of the language that AI reads and interprets. And it just is kind of this is the title, this is the information, this is the category of content. This is a blog article. This is a testimonial page. This is a pricing page. This is a sales page, etc. It's just the back-end information. The user doesn't see this, just the AI tools and the website crawlers, Google Spider, all of these crawling bots. They read this information and they know how to index those individual website pages.
It's almost like a map.
Yeah.
Right. So when you combine those two things, you can get answers like these on AI. And we're seeing two similar ones here. And we think that on the left, it just looks so much cleaner. And you see here exactly why. This is Navy Federal's page here.
Yeah.
Super clean. Just the rates, just the timetables, and the disclosures are here at the bottom, as opposed to RBFC right here. This on the website looks great. Like you'd have no problem like this looking at this if you're crawling a website, but right. The AI cannot crawl it as efficiently.
Yeah. And that is actually very common because that's a plugin that we see a lot of community banks and credit unions use to display their rates, but it's not crawlable at all by AI. Hopefully they change that, but until they do, I might want to rethink that plugin. I know it's a lot of extra work, and I think rates are very, very difficult. But if you do have an IT department and you have a web manager, it was pretty easy for us at Brex to figure out a way that we could just pull in the rates from our PDF and have them update on the website in that plain text HTML text quote. So it definitely is achievable. It's a little bit of a piece of code, but you do not need to use or rely on these plugins that might not be AI accessible, your IT team or your web manager will most likely be able to figure out a way to embed those in your site from whatever, source document you have. So it won't take a lot of additional work on your side.
And so we talk a lot about this with credit unions and some community banks. Can you talk a little bit, Austin, about why that product-centered marketing is so important? Like we see here with this Ally ad, it's short, crawlable text with that as low as rate in big text so AI can see it.
Yeah, I mean, I think like the biggest piece here is, people, as we saw on that ChatGPT search that you ran, people are searching for the best credit union, but most of those things that they were searching for were product specific, auto loans, mortgages. People are searching for to change their financial plan when they are searching for a product. And I think it flies in the face of everything we've ever done for 20 plus years in credit union and bank marketing. But I really think like as you start to think product first and you create content that is product first, you're going to start seeing a lot more appearances in AI search results, and your content is going to start to perform a little bit better because that is what people are searching for. They might be searching for the best credit union in Richmond, but primarily they're searching for how do I get an auto loan today? How do I qualify for a mortgage? Like, what do I need? And that's when you have a really great opportunity to add them to your membership or to your customer base.
Absolutely. And so a little bit more about that identity that you're building online. Another thing I noticed when I was looking here is I looked up Bellwood Credit Union's best CD rate. And instead of getting Bellwood's actual information, it sent me to Belco.
Oh.
And I think we see this with a lot of credit unions and smaller banks, especially. Their names are so similar. Like there's how many America First credit unions are there? There's a ton. And I think distinguishing yourself with more content and also keeping that brand name the same across all of those different channels is going to be so important.
Yeah, I think that is really important. I think that is something that most credit unions and banks are really starting to think about in depth is the brand that you've had for 100 plus years, is that the brand that's going to take you into the future? Because I think, our company's name is Warrant, your company's name is Syllaby. There are not any other Warrants or Syllabys. Like you type in our name and okay, yes, there is an 80s band called Warrant, but obviously we're not the 80s band. And you can find us. And I think owning your brand online is really important. And a piece of advice that someone gave me when I started Warrant is it's free to be fun. And I think that that's something that we all need to think about. I think a lot of us get into our idea that we are a financial institution. We need to be very serious. Like we're a compliance solution. We need to be very serious, but we're not. People remember us because we are fun. We are tongue in cheek. When people say like warrant, what does that mean? We're like, oh, it's like warrant out for your arrest because you did bad marketing compliance. And I think, being tongue in cheek and really thinking through your brand, maybe a rebrand and a rename isn't in the cards, but how can you differentiate your brand, your website, how you're showing up on social media from other credit unions, from other banks, from other financial institutions locally? I think that, you can use fun colors, you can use a new logo, you can use these different things to make it really clear, and then make sure that your full name is scattered across your website and your testimonials so that the AI doesn't get confused between you and other financial institutions that have the same name.
Yeah, I think this is also a great example and a warning as well. And all of this information that we're sharing with you might sound great, but you might be like, this sounds like a lot of work. I'll get to it in a couple of years. Meanwhile, your social media hasn't been updated in 4 years. Your competitors, if you have a competitor with a similar name, might intentionally or unintentionally be taking traffic and leads from you because somebody looked for Bellwood and Belco came up, and okay, let me just click on it. Because I didn't even realize it just showed me the link. I didn't make the association in my head as the customer that this is not Bellwood. If Belco is in the same area, offers a good rate, and serves my purpose, I'm going to click on that. I'm going to become a lead for Belco instead of Bellwood. So your competitors might already be doing this just by being more active than you are in their online marketing. So this is really just a warning and a great example of just start to be active on this stuff, or this is real-time proof of how you will fall behind.
Yeah, absolutely. And just switching gears here. A little bit, we kind of already talked about this a little bit, but like those rates and stuff, it's so important that those are updated and consistent across all the platforms where you post. You want everything to be, if you search around enough, you will find XYZ credit union, XYZ bank, it's this rate, and then AI will be like, or it could be this rate, I'm not sure. That happens all the time, and it gives off mistrusting vibes, and that is probably not the case at your credit union or your bank. It's fine, it's just that there's one site that has a sunsetted rate on Google Business or NerdWallet, whatever the case may be, and it's just not updated yet. Happens all the time.
Yeah.
And like we talked about, like AI is going to scrape Bankrate. It's going to scrape NerdWallet. Those third-party trusted sites, it's so important that you update all your information across them, because that just continues to build the credibility that we talked about.
Let me do a quick check-in with everybody, by the way. Is this helpful information so far? Give us a 1 in the chat if this has been helpful for everybody.
Gonna get 1.5 again.
We're gonna get 1 point. We're gonna get some 1.5s. Let's see in the chat. Okay, lots of 1s. Good. I just want to make sure that this is helpful for everybody, actionable, that you guys get overwhelmed with really just good information that helps you all out.
And as well, if you guys have questions that come up during the chat, we have a couple from the registration point. But if you have questions that are coming up, please drop them in the chat and we'll try to get to them at the end. And so like I said, switching gears a little bit here, more so talking to Austin Carroll now. So we've talked about all these things that have to happen in order to modernize marketing. And I think that we see it all the time where it's the compliance structure, that approval structure that's holding teams back. Can you speak to that a little bit more?
Yeah, I mean, I think something that has always been really, really challenging to financial institutions and to insurance carriers is just getting content approved by compliance and then getting it out the door. Now, of course, a lot of what we've talked about today is foundational. How can you do testimonials? How can you show up in AI search results? And I think a lot of that is foundational, but to do it, it also requires a lot of content. And sometimes that content needs to go out the same day or that same week as rates drop to take advantage of people searching for mortgages or searching for car loans or commercial loans. We saw that, of course, with COVID, with paycheck relief. Suddenly, huge amounts of loan deposits were coming through. And if you weren't able to get content out quickly, you really missed out on that windfall of very sometimes sketchy loans, if anyone remembers that. So I think when you think about compliance, we're really starting to be at the forefront of where the regulations are today. So things that we're talking about, like having testimonial videos, having social media influencers, even, having schemas on your website, like there's no regulation that talks about how a regulator will look at the schema of your site and, what does that need to say? I think we're really starting to realize that we're kind of at that forefront, that periphery of the regulations. So we anticipate that they're going to continue to change. So what's all right now and what's serving as the foundation for your AI search results might need to be changed in the future. So I think with that in mind, it's not only important now to make sure compliance is reviewing your marketing material entirely, but it's also really important to make sure that you have this recorded somewhere. Most credit unions, community banks we speak with, they have, emails reviewing this stuff, but it's really hard to remember, hey, we did that blog with all of those testimonials a couple years ago, that's no longer allowed. Let me try to find that blog. It can be really, really difficult. So it's never been more important to make sure that you have a solid record keeping solution for all of your marketing, whether that's Adobe or a marketing compliance platform like Warrant that can do a pre-review for compliance as well. It's really important to be able to look back and search across all of these new, more elaborate pieces of content. And then so that way you're prepared if those regulations do shift, which we're anticipating.
And talking about those regulations specifically, I always get a kick out of it when we say how these regulations that are now resulting in these regulations that are now being used to regulate short form video in financial services and stuff, they come from what, the 60s?
The earliest one is 1912.
Right.
Wow.
Yes. And they're being applied in a way that obviously we didn't anticipate in 1912 because no one had short form video on your phone and no one had influencers talking about the amazing rates that they got. It is really interesting, and we really do expect a lot more clarity to come from these regulatory bodies within the next couple of years. We're already starting to see that in Europe. The EU has a new AI Act that's going to start requiring disclosures on the use of AI. So we really are kind of at the forefront here. I think the best thing you can do though, say you wanted to start doing short form video, the best thing you can do is just like Austin said, have one person that's going to represent your bank or credit union for now to start. Then you have that one person get the scripts approved by compliance before you film. And of course, these can be an outline. And then, of course, you can use a tool like Warrant to review those scripts. You can have your compliance officers, outside counsel review it. And then once you record it, then do another review. But hopefully, because you got that script approved fast, it's going to be about the same level of effort for your compliance officer as doing a new blog post or something similar. So I would say that as you're kind of getting started with short form video, just make sure that it's compliant from the script to that final review, and you should be good to go. And just make sure that you know where all those videos are. That's why, again, record keeping is so important. Like within Warrant, if you said something about fees, and then suddenly it comes out that, FTC says you can no longer discuss fees in any type of testimonial videos, we could immediately find all of the videos that mention fees. But any kind of like script recordings, transcription software, etc., can really help you keep track of these videos. Because yes, just putting them on YouTube and forgetting about them is not a great way to remain in compliance.
A quick practical tip for creating videos like this is as well. Now, there's always going to be some topics that like a rate change that you want to get out quick. But there's also going to be what's called evergreen questions that they don't really get dated. They're much longer shelf life. And what you can do is batch this content. So because you're all busy professionals, we all have jobs. You probably don't even like to create content. You do it as a necessity, not as an interest, and that's okay. So what I recommend is getting all of these scripts done ahead of time. Aim for 15, 20, 30 scripts. You get them approved by legal and from a compliance perspective through Warrant or whatever tool that you're using. And then once all of those are approved, spend one day a month, couple hours in that day, or however much time that you can carve out to do that. Record them all in one setting, send them off to a video editor. You can have somebody overseas, or if you have an internal marketing department, edit all of these, and then you just schedule them out ahead of time. So you take one day a month, and now you have 1, 2, or maybe even 3 months worth of scheduled posts out on those evergreen specific content pieces.
Yeah, it's also a great way for compliance to review as well. They know that a batch is coming and they can set aside some time to review it versus kind of getting massive amounts of content like a video and then, we also redid the entire website.
Yeah.
That can be difficult for compliance to take on. So I think setting those kind of schedules are great when you're working with compliance internally or externally.
That was actually my next question. So like, besides, obviously, they can procure Warrant, but like in terms of other things that marketers can do who want to push this stuff, how can they make their compliance officers' lives a little bit easier?
I mean, I think honestly, like the way, besides using a tool like Warrant, which also helps, but I would say like something that we've found as we've implemented Warrant is, having the technology to have approvals and record keeping in one place is wonderful. But really, where we've seen the most impact is just having marketing understand what they can and can't say, really understanding the regulations that affect your credit union, your bank, your insurance carrier. And I think that's what Warrant provides because it, tells you as you're creating content whether or not you can do this. But I think honestly, having compliance, you really, do a couple sessions for marketing, walk them through how they review marketing material, what checklist do they use, what regulations do you need to take advantage of? Because I think that that will help you create better content as a marketer, and it will definitely help you streamline the approval process as well.
Yeah, they get a real transparent process.
Yeah.
Barrier.
I mean, if you ask about compliance's day and what they check, they will be thrilled. They will be thrilled, and they're really excited to chat with you about that. And I think as marketers, that makes you more successful as well, because you know the lines that you can push while creating content in a way that you might not have known in the past. And given that most of you guys have a ton of different products under your umbrella, you're doing checking, credit cards, mortgage loans, commercial lending, all of those have different regulations. And I think it just makes you a much stronger marketer when you know what those regulations are and how you can still create compelling content even with them.
And finally, we just want to say, like, this is all doable. All the technology that you need to do this, the people, the other agencies, the tools to potentially procure to be able to get this stuff done, it is all there. It's just a little bit of coordination and a lot of effort, I would say.
Yeah, and I think you can start small, right? I think there are some low-hanging fruit here. I think, starting to research what your customers are asking for is a really great way to start. The second way to start is just kind of thinking, what can we do? Maybe we can't do video right now, but can we start creating some blogs? Can we ask our customers that we know personally to talk about us on Yelp and Reddit? Can we, explore having our, something we didn't even talk about today, but can we explore having our loan officers post on social media? Like, I think, like, what are the lowest hanging fruit that you can take advantage of so you can start appearing in these search results? And then you can go back and do the whole enchilada that we talked about.
Yeah, absolutely. So finally, our special. So you can scan this QR code to go ahead and book a call with us for a free strategy session. So it's a breakdown of how we think we could see Warrant potentially moving in and helping you guys as your marketing compliance processes progress. And we want to open it up for questions. We have a couple pre-prepared, but would love to hear from everyone. I think one that I had pre-prepared was there any search engine like a Perplexity or a Claude or a ChatGPT that was being used more than others for this kind of search? My off-the-cuff guess was that Gemini would probably be most common.
Yeah, that's an interesting question because it depends where if they're traditionally going to Google previously, they're probably still using Google. In general, from a mass user adoption scale, ChatGPT still has the most market share. So I would focus on ChatGPT efforts as well. The benefit here, though, is most of these models are trained in very similar ways. And so just by applying a lot of these best practices that we talked about today, you're stacking your odds in favor for every LLM model, no matter where they're using.
Sure. And then we kind of touched on a lot of the other questions I have, like how are things floating up? Is there anything else you guys think we could have missed, or any value we can add here as it closes out the hour?
In regards to what do you mean how?
Oh, just like how the AIs are actually querying the results. I think we kind of touched on this, but basically my understanding is that it's a synthesis of
Mhm.
all the material that is out there.
Yeah. And as you brought up as well, it's just that consistency of the same information across the board so that you're not confusing the models, the bots that are scraping it, as well as the users as well. If they go to your website and then they go to a social media page and then they go to Reddit and there's three different answers, that just confuses the customer, and they go to the next credit union or next business down the scale because they're like, I don't want to deal with this confusion. I just want a clear, concise answer. That's also what LLMs and what Google and search engines want to deliver. They want to deliver the right answer for the right person at the right time. It needs to be concise. It needs to be perfect.
All right, let me check the chat real quick. All right.
Do you guys have any other questions for how we might be able to help? Oh, we have one.
Can you dive a bit deeper on why Reddit and LinkedIn have been a primary source of training data for LLMs? At one point, I thought LinkedIn was relatively restricted to being accessed by LLMs. And I think that last part is still true, right?
Yeah, well, kind of. So, LinkedIn newsletters and some posts are actually indexed in Google search results as well. So that's where a lot of information is pulling from. Quite frankly, the real answer is that these are trusted platforms, much more trusted than Instagram or TikTok or Facebook. Now, there's a lot of great information on YouTube as well, but it's just an additional step, right? They have to look at the video, they have to grab the transcript, and then they have to train the model on that outside of Google models. But Reddit is where people primarily go to get honest, transparent, anonymous reviews as well, because a lot of people come to Reddit to leave anonymous reviews. They are behind a username. It's not associated with their actual name or their actual email address, so they're free to leave. They're just transparent, honest feedback, and people genuinely trust that as a reputable source. And the clientele on LinkedIn are business professionals. They're not just the average person that's on social media. They're not youth. They are business professionals. And so content, there's actually a lot less content on LinkedIn as well. You think about it, I think I read a study, it's like high 90% of LinkedIn users do not create any content whatsoever. It's single digit active users on LinkedIn that are creating the vast majority of content on there. So it's again, business professionals creating business-oriented content on a trusted platform, and the review platform of Reddit as well. This is just where a lot of information is getting pulled from.
It's really interesting.
Yeah. I think what's interesting about LinkedIn as well is because not a lot of people are posting. It's similar to what we talked about the opportunity. People aren't looking at AEO, so there is opportunity there to rank very highly. And I think on LinkedIn, let's be honest, community banks and credit unions, they're not posting on LinkedIn. They're not on LinkedIn. If you become active on LinkedIn, your loan officers start to post. Mm-hmm. It can really fundamentally change your outcomes because you are one of the first to do so, and you're able to kind of own that market.
I'll give you a very practical LinkedIn growth strategy as well. Newsletters on LinkedIn are indexable on Google. In fact, before you publish, you can add an SEO title and an SEO description. They're just fantastic to rank articles. LinkedIn, if you have a newsletter, will automatically send an invite to anybody that engages with your post or sends you a connection request or follows you on LinkedIn to subscribe to your newsletter. What I just said before, that high 90% of active people that log into LinkedIn do not create content. So if you are that low single digit percentage that once a week you create a high value piece of content on your LinkedIn, and you encourage a lot of your loan officers or employees to create content as well, they are going to get followers because it's very valuable content. The LinkedIn platform itself will automatically invite the people that engage with that content and follow you to subscribe to the newsletter that ranks and indexes in search results and these AI tools. If you already have a newsletter, just repurpose that in your LinkedIn newsletter as well. It repurposes it out. It will rank in search results, keeping that newsletter active, growing your LinkedIn following, and impacting the AI search results all in the same practice, for doing nothing else except for posting one time a week on LinkedIn.
Daisy had an interesting question. She's asking if you think that any other platform is going to have like a similar rise to how TikTok has kind of come up and been this super popular thing. Do you expect any other platform on the horizon right now?
I mean, there's nothing really on the horizon. In fact, I was a big TikTok advocate. I think TikTok's actually going downhill quite a lot because it's just ads now. It's kind of crazy. TikTok is just basically an ad platform. I think a lot of
So is ChatGPT soon.
Yeah, ChatGPT ads are now out. Anybody can start running ChatGPT ads. I could go down a whole rabbit hole on that though. I would not recommend ChatGPT ads yet. It's a very, very infancy platform. And ads on ChatGPT are only reaching people that don't pay for a ChatGPT account. And so you're inherently reaching people that can't even invest $20 a month into
But to
a
be
tool.
fair, only 2% of Americans have purchased ChatGPT, which means they're all using their business account, which is very interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see, like, we all talk, obviously, a lot of us, have talked before about how to use AI in your business. And I think, like, what's so interesting is, like, well, it's infiltrated the business world. It's still so low on consumer adoption, with the exception of that Gemini search that Jake showed you at the beginning of the call. I would say that that's probably the most consumer AI application. Unfortunately, directly affects your SEO. So that's unfortunate.
Yeah, as far as other up and coming platforms, I don't think there's anything that we already threw a lot at you. I don't think there's another like up and coming platform that you really need to focus on right now. The main ones that have been around forever are still the dominant share.
I'll say that like businesses haven't really focused, like no business has a Reddit strategy. And I think that might be more important moving forward. To really think about that strategy in a way that you probably wouldn't have considered in the past if you didn't have a huge developer or like World of Warcraft or kind of these kind of consumers. I think I constantly go to Reddit to look up the best places to go in my community. It is a hyper local social media platform, which is very interesting.
Yep.
And I think that brings us to the top of the hour. So thank you guys for your time, and thank you all.
Thanks for joining, guys.
I hope this was helpful.
Thank you so much. We'll be sending you an email reminder in case you want to book that strategy session, and we really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Awesome. Bye.